In this video, I'm going to review the main features of LiveScript. Click a new LiveScript button or use a new menu to open a new LiveScript. You can also type edit and the file name with MLX extension. In a LiveScript, you can mix up a text and code together. Enter code in the grayed areas and click on the text button to enter some text describing what you are going to do. Text is like a comment but without percentage. Then click on the code button to enter more code. Note that after typing few letters of the function name, it will pop up a list of the available functions starting with that prefix. And when you type the open parentheses, Live Editor will automatically complete it with the closed one. So we can collect now a bunch of commands to create a whole code section, which is the kind of computational unit, and then click on Run Section button to immediately get the output. This is a really useful workflow. You add more text to provide more background and explanation of the work in progress, and then you add new lines of code, maybe to get a plot. As you can see, MATLAB will always assist you suggesting the correct syntax for any optional different parameter. To re-execute the whole code, click on the Run Section button again to see the graphics as well. LiveScript is great to quickly experiment what happens when you change a parameter, or what happens if we change the sign in the function definition, or what happens if we add a square. If we stumble in any syntax issue, don't worry, the error message can help to understand what is missing and correct. We could also add a breakpoint to debug the code and execute step by step to catch also semantic errors. You can step to next line or continue to next breakpoint, and when you are okay with the code, you can stop debugging and eliminate all the breakpoints. Just a note, when you save a script, only MLX format allows to store output and text inside the file itself. A traditional script would lose all the output and would turn text into comments. Anyway, any script can be converted into LiveScript simply by resaving it as MLX. Now let me jump into a larger LiveScript to review how to format the text in different ways. For example, to create a title, you click on the text and simply choose Title in the Style menu. Or to create a heading, you can either use the Style menu, a shortcut, or put a markdown before the text, the double shop. To add a section break, you can use either a section break button or the shortcut Ctrl-Alt-Enter. If you put a double percentage before a text, you turn this into a heading with a new section break simultaneously. Of course, you can also create different levels of headings using the Style menu again. All these headings will be used conveniently to create a table of contents. In fact, if we just scroll up to the beginning, we can go to the Insert tab and click on the Table of Contents button. Every item here in the table now is a hyperlink to the corresponding section. Now, suppose we want to tell a relevant story, let's say about a noisy signal. We'd better highlight the story with a new heading and check that any new heading is automatically added to the table of contents. But to create a good story, we need additional resources. For example, we could insert a hyperlink, pretermediate, to copy the link, and this way you have a direct link from the script to a web page, maybe describing more statistics for random models. What about adding a mathematical equation? Click Equation to access the equation editor. It provides many symbols like Greek letters, arrows, operators, radicals, derivative, integrals that can help write an equation. You can also use a Ctrl-Alt-E shortcut to edit an equation. And if you are familiar with LaTeX command, you can directly type LaTeX command. They all typically start with a backslash. So \mu, \sigma will return the symbols for the mean and the standard deviation. And finally, to give also a visual idea of noisy signal, we can insert an image. Let's choose our favorite JPEG. And here we are. We can resize it as we like. And now we are ready to switch from text to code to implement our story with the nice executable commands. We could start copying some code from the previous example, maybe taking a smaller step here. And we can click on the Run section to execute and show the output. On the top right bar, we can click to visualize output inline after each command if we like, or we can keep the default visualization of the output on the right. Let's go on with a custom plot. When you start writing the plot command, LiveScript will help with additional parameters. For example, we can set the line width properties to 2. You can run the section and see the thicker plot. Of course, we can experiment any code change. We can try to change the color to red and run again. When you click on the plot, you can quickly add a grid, a title, or other annotations interactively. And also you can automatically upgrade the code with the corresponding commands. Now let's make a copy of this code because I'd like to show you an interesting feature to reuse it. But first, let me make it a bit more flexible with a couple of extra parameters. Maybe one for the title, one for the color. Okay, let's see if it works. Now select the code and then click on Refactor to convert the code automatically into a local function. You just needed to rename it. Note that any local function must be put at the end of the script and closed by an end. The live script will substitute a function called automatically. And we can try to make a change and reuse the local function. So refactoring is very useful to modularize the code and make it more readable. To interact a bit more with our code, we can include some UI control. For example, let's start with the parameter alpha that will control the level of noise we want to introduce, and redefine the signal by adding random numbers with a normal distribution controlled by alpha. Reusing the local function created before is certainly a good idea to visualize and understand the effect of adding this noise to the signal. But how can we explore different values of alpha? The easiest way? Go to Insert tab, click Controls, and choose one of the available controls, for example, a numeric slider. We can set the feasible range of values, the minimum, the maximum, and the incremental step. And here's the magic. Anytime we move the slider, all the comments in that section will re-execute, so it will regenerate the random noise and update the plot. So live controls can really help understand how a parameter impacts on the model and gain a deeper insight. LiveScript can also speed up some common tasks in data analysis and preprocessing. Click Task button, choose one of the multiple tasks, for example, smooth data. And an interactive interface will show up, where you can select the input data, choose a smoothing method, or change the smoothing factor and immediately see the output. You can experiment with another method, adjust the smoothing factor, or try another method again until you get a good performance. After this interaction, you can see the automatically generated code. And clicking on the three dots you have three options to see in the script: the control only, the code only, or both control and code together. As a conclusion, we are now ready to export the whole live script into a shareable document. You can go to the top right bar and choose to hide the code if you want. If you hide the code, the document will contain only text and output, but I'm not going to do this now. Just in case, we can choose to hide the code or not, also from the View tab. Now go to Save button and choose Export to PDF, or another format available, Word, HTML, LaTeX. And after a few seconds, you can see the PDF, completed with the table of contents, all the formatted text, and the output. And that's it. So for your reference, there is a nice cheat sheet downloadable from our MATLAB website. I hope this video was useful, and happy LiveScript!